Men, pay close attention. There is one question that can reveal whether a woman is being unfaithful. In modern dating, detecting infidelity isn't about snooping or confrontation. It's about understanding behavior, psychology, and the subtle ways a woman signals deception. Women rarely admit cheating outright, but their words, energy, and reactions often give them away if you know what to look for. This question is not a magic trick. It's a tool grounded in observation and female psychology. It works because women instinctively reveal truths about their actions, priorities, and attention when their behavior is probed carefully. Most men miss the signs because they fail to ask the right questions in the right way, or they allow their emotions to override observation. In this video, we'll break down the one question that exposes a cheating woman, how to ask it effectively, and the signs to watch in her response. We'll also cover the behavioral patterns, energy shifts, and subtle cues that typically accompany infidelity. Recognizing these signs allows you to protect your energy, maintain authority, and make decisions with clarity rather than being blindsided. This isn't about paranoia. It's about awareness and boundaries. Men who can ask the right question, observe the response, and read the energy behind it naturally command respect, maintain attraction, and filter for women who are honest and aligned. By the end, you'll know how to spot deception quickly, preserve your composure, and avoid wasted time with women who do not value honesty or alignment. 1. The power of the question. Men, the single question that exposes a cheating woman is deceptively simple. Have you been completely honest with me about him? The power of this question isn't in its words alone. It's in the psychological pressure it creates and the way it forces her to reveal inconsistencies, guilt, or defensiveness. Women who are faithful will answer calmly, clearly, and without hesitation. Women who are hiding involvement with someone else will unconsciously give away signs through tone, body language, or vague phrasing. This question works because it combines clarity with accountability. It doesn't accuse, it doesn't assume. It simply asks her to account for her honesty. The moment she hears it, her subconscious assesses how much she can manipulate, deflect, or lie without being detected. Her response reveals her level of alignment, transparency, and integrity. Men who fail to ask directly often rely on observation alone, which can miss the subtle manipulations and excuses that women use to cover deceit. The behavior that accompanies a deceptive answer is often subtle. She may hesitate, avoid eye contact, over-explain, or laugh nervously. She may repeat phrases like, "I told you everything," or "you're overthinking," while her energy signals discomfort. Men who react with frustration, defensiveness, or repeated questioning feed into her control and reduce their authority. The key is observation combined with emotional composure. Another layer is context. Ask the question in a neutral environment where she cannot easily manipulate tone or energy. Watch micro-expressions, eye movement, shifts in posture, fidgeting, or inconsistent wording. These nonverbal cues often reveal far more than her words. Women instinctively test whether a man can remain composed under subtle psychological pressure. Your ability to observe without reacting emotionally determines how much she will reveal or try to manipulate. Practical application. Deliver the question calmly, without accusation. Observe verbal and nonverbal responses carefully. Track consistency in stories, tone, and body language. A deceptive response is rarely a one-off. Patterns emerge over repeated interactions. Men who notice these patterns and maintain composure preserve energy, authority, and respect. Finally, understand that the power of the question lies in testing alignment and integrity. Women who are faithful answer naturally and calmly, without defensiveness. Women who are hiding involvement struggle, hesitate, or attempt to manipulate perception. Recognizing the subtle cues that accompany her response allows you to protect your emotional energy, maintain authority, and make decisions about alignment and investment. 2. Watching her body language. Men, the second key element in exposing a cheating woman after asking the question is her body language. Words can be controlled. Energy and physical cues cannot. Women who are hiding something often give away subtle signs in posture, gestures, and micro-expressions that reveal discomfort, guilt, or deceit. Observing these cues is as important as listening to her words. They are the truth leaking through the facade. Common signs include avoiding eye contact, crossing arms defensively, fidgeting, shifting weight, or playing with objects like her phone or jewelry. Nervous laughter, quick changes in tone, or sudden stillness can also indicate that she is uncomfortable with the question. Men who fail to notice these cues often focus solely on verbal answers, missing the subtle but powerful signals of deception. Another layer is incongruence between words and energy. A woman may say confidently, "I've told you everything," but her energy, tense shoulders, tight jaw, or darting eyes, says the opposite. This mismatch is a classic red flag. Women instinctively test whether a man can read these energy cues without reacting impulsively. Calm observation allows you to maintain authority while decoding the truth. Timing and consistency matter. Micro-expressions are often brief, but repeated patterns across interactions reveal alignment or deception. A woman who consistently exhibits defensive body language when certain names, messages, or situations are mentioned is signaling discomfort with truth disclosure. Men who notice these patterns preserve their emotional energy and avoid being manipulated. Practical application. When asking the critical question, remain calm, neutral, and composed. Focus on her body language and energy rather than reacting to her words alone. Observe posture, eye contact, gestures, and tone. Compare these cues over time to detect patterns of incongruence. Avoid confrontations or accusations based solely on a single cue. Instead, let consistent observation guide your assessment. Finally, understanding body language allows you to read between the lines. Men who master this skill can detect deception without giving away their own energy. Women respond to men who remain composed, observant, and deliberate. They are naturally less likely to manipulate someone who notices subtle cues without reacting emotionally. By combining the question with careful observation of body language, you gain a powerful tool for detecting infidelity. Men who remain grounded, attentive, and strategic maintain authority, protect energy, and filter for women who are honest, aligned, and worthy of investment in modern dating dynamics. 3. Listening to her tone. Men, the third factor in uncovering a cheating woman after asking the critical question, is her tone of voice. Words can be crafted to deceive, but tone, the subtle inflections, hesitations, and energy behind what she says, often reveals her true intentions. Women who are hiding involvement will unconsciously communicate guilt, nervousness, or defensiveness through tone. Recognizing these patterns is key to interpreting her honesty. For example, a woman may answer confidently, "Yes, I've been honest with you," but her tone may be unusually high-pitched, shaky, or rushed. She may elongate certain words, pause unnecessarily, or overemphasize phrases like "completely honest." These vocal cues are unconscious signals that she is managing energy, masking truth, or avoiding full disclosure. Men who ignore tonal inconsistencies risk being misled by words alone. Another key point is tone versus content. Compare what she says with how she says it. Does her tone match her words? If she answers calmly and clearly, that usually signals alignment. If her tone exhibits tension, defensiveness, or nervous energy, it's often a red flag. Women instinctively test whether a man can detect discrepancies between words and energy. Calm observation here demonstrates authority and preserves emotional control. Context is also crucial. Observe how her tone shifts when specific names, messages, or situations arise. Does she hesitate, raise her voice slightly, or add unnecessary explanations? These are unconscious attempts to manipulate perception while concealing her actions. Men who notice tonal patterns across multiple interactions can spot deception before it escalates. Practical application. Focus on subtle shifts in tone when delivering the question. Track hesitation, pitch changes, or overemphasis. Combine these observations with body language and content. Avoid reacting impulsively to slight changes. Instead, gather patterns over time. Calm composure signals to a woman that her attempts at manipulation won't control your energy. Finally, understanding tone as a window into honesty strengthens your ability to read truth in modern dating. Men who notice tonal cues while remaining composed maintain authority, protect emotional energy, and filter for women who demonstrate alignment, integrity, and respect. By combining the question with careful attention to tone, men gain a critical tool to detect potential cheating. Recognizing these vocal cues ensures you remain grounded, deliberate, and in control of your energy while interacting with women, ultimately creating clarity, respect, and alignment in your relationships. 4. Noticing hesitation. Men, the fourth factor in exposing a cheating woman after asking the critical question is hesitation. Hesitation is one of the most revealing subconscious behaviors. It shows up in speech, gestures, and responses. Women who are hiding involvement will often pause, stumble over words, or struggle to provide clear answers. Hesitation is not about intelligence or memory lapses. It's a psychological tell, signaling discomfort or concealment. Hesitation often appears in small ways. She may start answering, stop mid-sentence, or repeat herself unnecessarily. For instance, when asked, "Have you been completely honest with me about him?" she may say, "Well, yes, I think so." Or, I told you everything. These delays or qualifiers are unconscious attempts to buy time, assess your reaction, or construct a plausible response while hiding details. Men who fail to notice hesitation often accept words at face value, missing the subtle signals of deceit. Another layer is pattern recognition. One hesitation may be innocent, but repeated delays, filler words, or stammering in key moments often indicate dishonesty. Women test whether a man can remain composed while noticing these micro-behaviors. Calm, deliberate observation demonstrates authority, signaling that your energy cannot be manipulated through hesitation or emotional deflection. Practical application. Focus on how she responds, not just what she says. Track pauses, filler words, or repeated phrases when certain topics arise. Combine this with body language and tone. Avoid immediate confrontation. Reacting emotionally to hesitation feeds manipulation and reduces your authority. Instead, observe patterns over multiple interactions to gain clarity. Timing and context matter. Hesitation is often strongest when she anticipates suspicion or when specific people or messages are mentioned. A woman who hesitates consistently in these situations is signaling discomfort and potential concealment. Men who notice these micro-tells without reacting impulsively maintain composure, authority, and clarity. Finally, understanding hesitation as a psychological indicator protects your energy and strengthens your ability to detect potential infidelity. Men who observe hesitation patterns, stay composed, and respond deliberately signal confidence and discernment. Women instinctively respect men who notice subtle cues without giving away their own energy or reacting emotionally. By combining the critical question with careful attention to hesitation, men gain a powerful tool to see beyond words, read energy, and detect inconsistencies. Recognizing hesitation patterns allows you to maintain authority, protect emotional energy, and engage only with women who demonstrate honesty, alignment, and respect in modern dating dynamics. 5. Observing over-explanation. Men, the fifth factor in exposing a cheating woman after asking the critical question, is over-explanation. Women who are hiding something often feel compelled to justify themselves excessively, provide unnecessary details, or go on tangents to appear innocent. This behavior is a subconscious attempt to manage your perception and prevent suspicion, but it often backfires. The overabundance of information is itself a red flag. Over-explanation often appears in ways that seem helpful or reassuring, but are excessive for the question asked. For instance, when asked, "Have you been completely honest with me about him?" she might respond with a long, detailed account of her interactions, including irrelevant information. "Well, we talked yesterday, and he mentioned this and that, and then I said." Men who fail to notice the pattern can mistake over-explanation for transparency, missing the fact that it's a tactic to control your perception. Another key point is energy versus content. A woman providing unnecessary detail may appear confident in her words, but her energy, fidgeting, tone changes, or rushed speech often signals stress or concealment. This is a psychological test. She's observing whether your energy is affected by her narrative. Men who remain composed, neutral, and observant demonstrate authority and emotional stability, reducing the power of her manipulation. Practical application. Listen carefully, but focus more on patterns and energy than the words themselves. Over-explaining frequently, especially in response to a simple question, is a warning sign. Observe inconsistencies, unnecessary details, and repeated justification. Avoid interrogating or overreacting. Your authority comes from calm observation, not chasing explanations. Consistency is crucial. One long explanation may be innocent. Repeated, unnecessary, or defensive over-explaining around certain topics, especially involving someone you know, indicates concealment. Women subconsciously test whether a man notices these patterns and maintains composure. Recognizing and tracking these behaviors allows you to protect your energy and make informed decisions. Finally, understanding over-explanation as a red flag protects your emotional state and preserves authority. Men who observe patterns, remain calm, and do not react emotionally signal confidence and discernment. Women notice and naturally respond to men whose energy is stable, who are aware of subtle manipulation, and who do not allow their perception to be controlled. By combining the critical question with attention to over-explanation, men gain a clearer understanding of potential infidelity. Recognizing excessive justification as a behavioral cue allows you to maintain composure, protect your energy, and engage only with women who are honest, aligned, and trustworthy in modern dating dynamics. 6. Detecting defensiveness. Men, the sixth factor in exposing a cheating woman after asking the critical question, is defensiveness. When a woman reacts with irritation, frustration, or subtle hostility to a straightforward question about honesty, it's often a subconscious defense mechanism. Defensiveness is a psychological shield she uses to protect herself and gauge how much you notice or care about hidden behaviors. This behavior often appears in small but telling ways. She may respond with statements like, "Why are you always questioning me?" or "You don't trust me enough." She might raise her voice slightly, roll her eyes, or sigh heavily. Men who immediately apologize, justify themselves, or withdraw energy, reinforce her behavior, and reduce their authority. Defensiveness is a test. She wants to see whether your presence and attention can be manipulated through emotional reactions. Another layer is timing and pattern. Occasional defensiveness may be normal in any relationship, but repeated defensiveness, specifically when certain names, interactions, or situations are mentioned, signals concealment. Women subconsciously use these tests to evaluate your boundaries, composure, and capacity to recognize deception. Observing patterns rather than reacting impulsively allows you to maintain authority and clarity. Practical application. Stay calm and neutral when she becomes defensive. Observe the tone, gestures, and language used. Do not engage in arguments, plead for reassurance, or try to force honesty. Instead, track the defensiveness across multiple interactions, noting when and why it occurs. Calm composure and deliberate observation signal that your energy and attention cannot be manipulated. Energy alignment is key. Defensiveness often comes with heightened emotional energy, slight tension in posture, rapid speech, or microaggressions. Women subconsciously test whether you respond emotionally or maintain stability. Men who notice these cues and remain grounded demonstrate strength, discernment, and authority. Finally, understanding defensiveness as a behavioral cue protects your emotional energy and ensures clarity in evaluating her actions. Men who track defensiveness patterns, observe without overreacting, and maintain composure signal confidence and self-respect. Women instinctively notice when a man cannot be emotionally manipulated, and this naturally filters for alignment and honesty. By combining the critical question with attention to defensiveness, men gain a powerful tool to detect potential infidelity. Recognizing defensive reactions allows you to protect energy, preserve authority, and engage only with women who demonstrate integrity, alignment, and respect in modern dating dynamics. 7. Spotting evasive answers. Men. The seventh factor in exposing a cheating woman after asking the critical question is evasive answers. Women who are hiding involvement will often respond with vague, indirect, or non-committal replies instead of giving a clear, honest answer. Evasion is a way to avoid revealing information, test your attention, and see whether you accept ambiguity. Words may sound reasonable on the surface, but the energy behind them often tells the real story. Evasive answers often appear in subtle ways. She might say, "I don't think there's anything to worry about. It's not important," or "Why do you even ask?" instead of directly addressing whether she's been fully honest. Men who accept these responses without observation risk missing the underlying manipulation. Women subconsciously use evasive language to see if a man notices inconsistencies, hesitation, or discomfort in her communication. Another key aspect is tone and energy. Evasion often comes with nervousness, overemphasis, or slight defensiveness. Even when her words are calm, her energy may reveal tension. A rapid glance, a subtle shift in posture, or micro-expressions of guilt. These unconscious cues often reveal more than the content of her answer itself. Men who pay attention to energy rather than words alone maintain authority and emotional clarity. Practical application. Ask the critical question clearly, then observe the specificity and directness of her answer. Track whether she provides details, avoids key points, or deflects the topic. Combine this with body language and tone to detect inconsistencies. Avoid confronting her aggressively. Overreacting gives her control and reduces your authority. Instead, remain composed, deliberate, and focused on observation. Patterns are essential. One evasive answer may be innocent, but repeated vagueness or deflection, especially when combined with hesitation, over-explanation, or defensiveness, strongly indicates concealment. Women use these subtle tests to evaluate whether you notice, whether you maintain composure, and whether you are easily manipulated. Men who consistently observe without reacting emotionally preserve authority and protect their energy. Finally, understanding evasive answers as a behavioral cue allows you to read between the lines. Men who notice indirect or vague replies while remaining composed signal discernment and confidence. Women instinctively respond to men whose energy is stable and whose attention is not easily manipulated. By combining the critical question with careful attention to evasive answers, men gain a reliable method for detecting potential infidelity. Recognizing indirect responses and subtle deflections allows you to maintain clarity, authority, and emotional control, ensuring that you engage only with women who are honest, aligned, and trustworthy in modern dating dynamics. Men, now you understand the one question that exposes a cheating woman and the 8 key ways to read her honesty. From body language and tone to hesitation, over-explanation, defensiveness, evasive answers, and reactions to follow-up questions. This is not about paranoia or control. It's about awareness, observation, and protecting your energy in the modern dating world. Women may not openly admit infidelity, but their words, energy, and behavior rarely lie. The power of this method lies in calm composure and pattern recognition. By asking the right question, have you been completely honest with me about him? And observing how she responds across multiple layers of communication, you gain insight into alignment, integrity, and potential deception. Men who ignore these cues or react impulsively risk giving away authority and energy, making it easier to be manipulated. Pay attention to her tone, micro-behaviors, and consistency. Hesitation, over-explaining, evasive answers, defensiveness, and reactions to follow-ups all reveal subtle truths about her priorities and honesty. Observing these cues without overreacting signals confidence and authority, qualities that women instinctively respect and respond to positively. Ultimately, this is about protecting yourself and your emotional energy. Men who master this approach can filter for women who are honest, aligned, and worthy of investment, while avoiding wasted time, betrayal, and manipulation. Composure, observation, and strategic questioning are the tools that allow you to remain grounded, intentional, and in control. Remember, the question alone isn't magic. It's how you watch, interpret, and respond to her behavior that matters. Men who combine direct questioning with subtle observation maintain clarity, enforce boundaries, and safeguard their energy, ensuring they engage only with women who demonstrate integrity and alignment in modern dating dynamics. This method gives you the edge in detecting deception early, maintaining authority, and making informed decisions about trust and investment. Observant, composed men are naturally respected, less easily manipulated, and more successful in creating relationships built on honesty and alignment.